Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is September 12th. The Phillies take care of business. Rizzo retires and more. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today, ladies and gentlemen? It's finally happening. I've got that tingling feeling for the rest of the season. I am now officially 100% locked in for the season. Every game I'm glued to. This is really exciting. We had a great week of baseball. A lot of things are changing in the standings, and there is a lot still to decide in what is only a short matter of 2 weeks. 5 series left to go. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to dive into all of the good stuff and more with you guys. So with that being said, let's get into our series recap. Leading us off, we've got the Pirates and the Oilers. Tommy Pham hits his 9th homer in the 9th to tie the game up, but it delays it because the O's would walk it off on Samuel Basel's weird walk-off single. He had to review it. It turns out it bounces off Pham's glove into fair territory. That's his second walk-off in as many days in the 11th inning, 3-2 Baltimore. And it doesn't end there because the Baltimore walks it off again the next day. They walk it off for the 4th time in 5 games. How about that from Baltimore? Beavers the RBI single in the 10th for the walk-off. 2-1 Baltimore. Beavers would deliver an RBI single to break the tie in the last game, as well as Baltimore wins it 3-2. They sweep the Pirates at home. Astros and the Blue Jays. IKF has a moment with the Jays already. He ties the game in the 9th with a 2 RBI single. In extras we go. Tyler Heineman would walk it off. Fielder's choice. Walker bobbles. 4-3 Blue Jays. They get the win there. In the second game, the Astros. The Jays tie it up, but the Astros hold on to win it. Yanier Diaz hits a go-ahead homer in the 9th to retake the lead for a 3-2 Houston win. For the rub match, Davis Schneider hits his 11th home run of the season, and Kevin Gausman was so brilliant. It's a complete game shutty for him. 6-0 Blue Jays. They take 2 of 3 against the Astros. On the other side, Tigers and Yankees, the other top 2 teams in the AL. Tigers scored 12 unanswered after Judge and Belly go deep for the Yankees. They score 9 runs in the 7th. How about that? 12-2 Detroit. Riley Green homers. Kerry Carpenter homers. Colt Keith homers. The Tigers in back-to-back games get 10-run wins. This one a score of 11-1. But in the last game, Judge has a 2-homer game on 9-11. Stanton's 20th home run of the season as well. It's a 9-3 Yankees win as they avoid the sweep. Rays and White Sox, Josh Lowe, Richie Palacios, Tristan Gray, they all homer for a 5-4 Rays win. The Rays out-homer the White Sox 3-1 in Game 2, but the White Sox scored 5 in the second, and then Andrew Benintendi, the White Sox that homered, 6-5 White Sox. And in the rub match, the White Sox scored 3 in the 6th to get some insurance. They didn't need it, though. 5-1 White Sox, they take 2 of 3 from Tampa. Royals and Guardians, both teams hunting the wild card. It's a 4-game set, and it's the Guardians that take control in Game 1. They score 6 runs in the 4th as 7 of their starting 9 drive in a run. 10-2 Guardians in this one. Jose Ramirez hits his 28th homer of the season, part of a 2-0 Guardians win. The Royals come back. They take the lead in the 7th with Garcia getting the RBI double for a 4-3 Royals win. But the last game falls the Guardians' way. Vinny Pasquantino hits his 30th homer of the season, his first time in his career hitting that milestone. And it's CJ Kefus with the go-ahead 2-run home run in the 8th to put the Guardians up 3-2 as they take 3 of 4 from the Royals in a big series there. Twins and Angels, Royce Lewis, a 2-homer game. James Outman goes deep, part of a 12-3 Twins win. Angels come back in Game 2, though. Chris Taylor goes deep. Yoan Moncada goes deep, part of a 12-2 Angels win. And in the run match, Outman goes deep, Buxton goes deep, the Twins in control, but Neto homers, and the difference is in the 8th inning as Mike Trout gets the RBI sac fly for the lead. 4-3 Angels take 2 of 3. Cardinals and Mariners. The Mariners scored all of the runs in the in the 6th inning. It's a 4-run 6th, part of a 4-2 Mariners win. Randy Arozarena, Josh Naylor, they go deep in Game 2 for a 5-3 Mariners win. And the last game goes to the 13th inning where it's Leo Rivas hitting the pinch hit walk-off bomb. His second home run of his career is a big one, 4-2 Seattle as the Mariners sweep the Cardinals. Brewers and Rangers. The Rangers, how about Texas in this series? Michael Hellman hits a grand slam and drives in all the runs in the first game for a 5-0 Rangers win. He then hits a game-tying home run in the second game as the Rangers put up 4 in the 5th to take the lead, 5-4 Texas. And in the last game, Freddie Peralta, of all the pitchers, it's Jake Berger, a 2-homer game off of Peralta, part of a 6-3 Rangers win, as the Texas Rangers do themselves and the Cubs a favor by sweeping the Brewers. How about that? Red Sox and A's now. Trevor Story, Carlos Narvaez, they go deep in a 7-0 Red Sox win. Rami Gonzalez, Rob Refsnyder, they both go deep in a 6-0 Red Sox win. And in the final game, Shea Langoliers, Nick Kurtz, they both get their 30th homers of the season. Chapman finally gives up a hit since July 23rd, ends the streak at 50 batters. And it's funny enough because Lawrence Butler hits the walk-off single off of him. How quickly baseball can change. The A's avoid the sweep by getting a run off of the best pitcher in the last month or so. 5-4 A's to avoid the sweep. Nats and Marlins now, they play a 4-game set. Luis Garcia Jr., Dylan Cruz, Josh Bell gets a 2-homer game. It was all Washington. And how about Victor Mesa Jr. getting his first career MLB home run, part of a 15-7 Nats win there. Bell homers again in Game 2, as well as Dalen Lill for a 7-5 Nationals win. But here come the Marlins. Xavier Edwards, he goes deep to cap off 8 straight runs for the Marlins to get a comeback win, 8-3 the final there. And then Miami finishes it off 5-0 to split the 4-game set to a piece. Mets and Phillies for a 4-game set. The division could be on the line. The Phillies get a 1-0 victory in Game 1. Castellanos, the RBI single in the second, the only run of the game. In Game 2, Otto Kemp homers, Harrison Bader homers, and Kyle Schwarber hits his 50th homer of the season, part of a 9-3 Phillies win. Harper goes deep, as well as Kepler in the third game as Kepler drives in 5 runs, part of an 11-3 Phillies win. And after the Mets scored 4 in the first, they couldn't do anything off of Luzardo. Meanwhile, the Phillies score 6 unanswered for a comeback win, including an Otto Kemp home run. They complete the 4-game sweep of the Mets. How about that? Cubs and Braves now. Albies and Olsen homer for a 4-1 Braves win. But here come the Cubs. They score 4 in the 8th in Game 2. Matt Shaw, a bases-clearing single, helps for a 6-1 victory. And then Carson Kelly, what a season. He hits his 17th homer on the year. Part of a 3-2 Cubs win. They take 2 of 3 from the Braves. Reds and Padres, both these teams on a hunt. The Padres come back from down 3 to tie it up, setting up extras, and in the 10th, it's Fernando Tatis Jr., the walk-off sac fly for a 4-3 Padres win. In Game 2, Sal Stewart homers, Will Benson homers. The Padres once again tie it back up, but this time it's Tyler Stevenson being the difference. He hits a 2-run homer to break the tie in the 9th. That's the difference for a 4-2 Reds win. And in the rub match, it's the Reds this time who come back. They score 2 runs in the 8th, 1 to tie and 1 to take the lead on a Miguel Andujar single as they win it 2-1, taking 2 of 3 from the Padres. They help out the Dodgers, who play the Rockies at home. The Dodgers lose out on another no-hitter in the 9th. That's the second time this has happened in the last 3 games. Are you kidding me? At least this game they still hold on to win. 3-1 Dodgers in that one. Mookie Betts goes deep, Freeman goes deep, and how about Teoscar Hernandez having a 2-homer game, part of a 7-2 Dodgers win. And if that wasn't good enough, Mookie Betts hits a grand slam in the last game. He goes back-to-back with Teoscar, who gets a third homer in the series, his third homer in 2 games. 9-0 Dodgers as they get a sweep against the Rockies, get some games up on the Padres. Lastly, it's the D-backs, it's the Giants, 2 teams hunting for a potential wild card berth. Young Ho Lee, Dom Smith, Heliot Ramos, Matt Chapman, Patrick Bailey, 5 of the starting 9 all go deep for the Giants, part of an 11-5 victory. Willy Adames missed out on the first game, but he will hit a 3-run homer in the second game, as well as Patrick Bailey, who homers again, part of a 5-3 Giants win. And because we need to keep things interesting, the Diamondbacks will hold on to the win in the last game. Perdomo, a leadoff home run. D-backs add 3 in the second for a 5-3 victory to avoid the sweep, keep their chances alive as well. And that's your series recap. All right, now for the game of the week, there were some good options for this one, including the Phillies-Mets Game 4 comeback for the 4-game sweep. But I wanted to go to, well, Sacramento for the Red Sox and the A's, the last game of the set here. Boston had taken the first 2. It starts in the bottom of the first. Shea Langeliers hits his 30th home run of the season, the first time he cracks 30 in his career for a quick 1-0 lead. Boston ties it up in the top of the second. Nate Eaton with an RBI double. It's 1-1. Then in the bottom of the second, Nick Kurtz hits his 30th home run of the season. Is he a lock for the Rookie of the Year? First time in his career, obviously, because it's his first season. How about that? Solo shot puts the A's back up. Trevor Story would double in the top of the third, tie it back up 2-2, and then in the top of the fourth, Jarren Duran will ground out, but Nate Eaton comes in to score. It's 3-2 Red Sox. They have their first lead of this game. Bottom 5, Tyler Soderstrom, he would get a 2-run double to tie and take the lead once again for the A's. Pawson would wait all the way to the top of the 9th, but Rob Refsnyder comes up clutch with an RBI double to tie the game up 4-4. In comes Chapman. You're expecting extras at this point. Shea Langeliers is the guy to break it up. 50 batters without a hit. That ends. He almost had 2 no-hitters, technically. His first hit given up since July 23rd. What a stretch for Chapman. But the inning continues, and it ends with Lawrence Butler getting an RBI single over the shortstop's head. He drives in the winning run as the A's walk off on Chapman, who has been so dominant as of late. That run is the difference. They avoid the sweep. 5-4 the final for your game of the week. Absolute brilliance there for him, for Butler, and for Chapman in general. Let's move on to the baseball news here. The first thing to talk about is Anthony Rizzo. He is calling it a career. It was announced that tomorrow, on Saturday, he will be retiring as a Cub. Of course, that is where he spent the majority of his career. And of course, the most of his success. Anthony Rizzo, one of the game's best first basemen in recent times. You think back to the likes of Freddie Freeman on the Braves and Joey Votto on the Reds. Rizzo and the Cubs was in that conversation, one of those like top 5, top 10 first basemen for a while. The 36-year-old was a 3-time All-Star, 4-time Gold Glove winner, including a Platinum Glove. He was also the recipient of the Roberto Clemente Award as well as a Silver Slugger, and of course was part of the Cubs' 2016 World Series championship title. People forget 2011, he was not a Cub. He came up as a San Diego Padre, had 1 season, was very bad that season, did get a homer. His first homer of his career was with the Padres. They traded him to the Cubs, and from that point on, Rizzo became Rizzo. Spent 10 years with the Cubs, including those 3 All-Stars in 2014, 15, and 16, finishing as high as 4th in MVP voting. That 2016 season, very special for him, was the Gold Glove, was the Silver Slugger, had the All-Star, finished 4th in MVP voting. Just a sensational career. Of course, in 2021, that was the year the Cubs dismantled the core. Baez went to the Mets. Bryant went to the Giants, I believe. And then Rizzo, of course, went to the Yankees. Baez then signed with the Tigers. Bryant signed with the Rockies, while Rizzo stayed with the Yankees for the last 4 seasons of his career. Spent 3.5 years in the Yankees organization, where he put up a 3.7 WAR, including 60 home runs. Decent bat for that Yankees, those Yankee teams back there in the early 2020s. But of course, his tenure was remembered as a Cub, where he spent over 1,300 games playing first base for the Chicago Cubs. And in his 14-year career as a total between all the years he spent with the Cubs, Yankees, and Padres, he collected 40.4 WAR, absolute sensational, played in 1,727 games with 1,644 hits, hit 303 home runs, just getting over that 300 mark. A career OPS of 828, really solid stuff. 965 RBIs driven in, 922 runs scored, and really sensational numbers. His career high in home runs was 32, hit that in multiple years, in 2014, 2016, and 2017, as well as 2022. So was never able to get 33 in a year, but had 4 years where he got 32. A sensational player, maybe not Hall of Fame decorated worthy, but a fantastic player and one of the game's greats in the 2010. So Rizzo will get to be honored tomorrow in Wrigley as a Cub. And that's kind of the big baseball news outside of postseason stuff here. Let's talk postseason stuff. How about the Philadelphia Phillies? Are you kidding me? Sensational stuff. The 4-game series starts with the Phillies with a 7-game lead over the Mets. If the Mets were able to sweep this series, we're talking about a 3-game difference for the last 15, 16 games or so. That is not the case. The Phillies win on Monday. They win on Tuesday. They win on Wednesday. Finish the sweep on Thursday. Sensational stuff from the Phillies. The 4-game win streak, they're 8-2 in their last 10. And now the difference in the NL East from 7 is now 11 games back. And by the way, there's 15, 16 games left of the season. The Phillies pretty much, with this 4-game sweep, secures them the NL East. It would have to be a catastrophic collapse for the Phillies not to win the East. It's essentially a lock at this point. They've gone really crazy. They're the second team right now with magic number of 4 to just clinch the postseason. Their clinching magic number for the division is just 1 more at 5. So that's a very likely situation to happen this weekend, even, is the Phillies to clinch not only a postseason berth, but also be the first team to lock up the division. At times we were thinking it was going to be Detroit that had an 8.5 game lead over the Guardians. There were times maybe the Brewers, but they've been kind of slumping as of late. It's going to be the Phillies are the first team to lock up the division for sure. 5 games is the match number now. The 4-game sweep is huge. And it's not even to gloat on the Phillies, because what they did this week was sensational. It puts the Mets in an awful position. The Mets are floundering right now. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They're 76-71, only 5 games above 500 on a 6-game losing streak. You know who also has current 6-game losing streaks going on? The Pittsburgh Pirates and the Colorado Rockies. Those are not the 2 teams that you want to get mixed up in right now. So yeah, bad look for the Mets. While that 4-game sweep's happening, take a look at the wild card. The Mets have been holding on to that 6th seed for so long. Check the mirrors. The Reds and Giants are only a game and a half back of the Mets now. It's go time for New York. This 4-game series, yeah, you lost the division easily. You are put in a position now where you might not even make the postseason. The Mets have to lock in as a team collectively, and it starts today because they've got a series with the Rangers, who just swept the best team in baseball in the Brewers. So like it starts today. The Mets are in a desperate need for a win today, and it needs to continue because they are definitely one of those teams right now who could easily miss the postseason. They're holding on to the spot. The Mets collapse, the Mets curse, like it's real. And by the way, very exciting stuff because with Texas coming to town, guess who's pitching today for the first time in Citi Field since 2022? Yeah, Jacob deGrom. What a game that's going to be. Tune in for that one. Oh boy, Mets, your time is ticking. Speaking of time ticking, let's take a look at the AL West, and that's not really a transition, so I don't know what I'm saying speaking of. The AL West division is now the best division in terms of what's going to come down to the last series of the season, I feel like, because, you look at the Central, Tigers, Guardians, 8.5 game lead. That's pretty much locked. The NL East, we mentioned, 11 game lead, like that's a lock. Brewers and Cubs, yeah, the Brewers, they're, 5.5 game lead. They've been kind of slumping, though, 4-6 in their last 10. You're still feeling like the Brewers are going to hold on to it, but even then, it's a 2-team race towards the end. Dodgers and Padres, it's a 2.5 game lead now, 2-team race coming towards the end kind of. AL East, the Jays have a 3-game lead over the Yankees, 3.5 over the Red Sox. 3 teams there, sure. How about the AL West, though? Because the Astros, who have been holding on to first place for so long, guess what? We're waking up today on Friday. The Mariners are tied with the Houston Astros. Both of these teams are 79 and 68. Seattle coming off back-to-back wins in extras in the 12th and 13th innings. That's the first time we've had back-to-back games in extras go to the 12th or beyond since the Ghost Runner rule came into effect. Seattle and T-Mobile Park loves their long extra inning games. Meanwhile, so Seattle swept the Cardinals. They now win a first game against the Angels. Spoiler for this weekend. Astros dropped 2 of 3 to the Blue Jays. A very good team in the AL. So, no hard feelings there. Texas swept the Brewers, though. The best team in baseball. Mariners on a 6-game winning streak. Rangers are on a 4-game winning streak. 7-3 in their last 10. Houston, Seattle tied atop, and Texas is 2 games back, not only of the wild card, but also the division. 2 games. Texas Rangers, they're not dead yet. They're 77 and 77 games above 500. And I mean, Houston's in a position right now where everything's on them. They got a series against Atlanta this weekend. Guess what? Next week, they play Texas. And after they play Texas, they play Seattle. And guess what? So far, the season series between the Astros and the Mariners, it's 5-5 right now. They play a 3-game set one last time, and whoever takes 2 of 3 in that series will get the tiebreaker. So it's not even a 3-game swing. That's a 4-game swing coming up between the Astros and Mariners. Like, there is some great baseball coming up this week for the AL West, specifically for Houston. If Texas and Seattle can beat up on the Astros, not only does that mean the Astros might not win the division, the Astros might miss the postseason entirely. That's still on the table here. But flip that script, the Astros handle business. Let's say they take 2 of 3 from Texas. Let's say they take 2 of 3 from Seattle. That pretty much will cement them as division favorites once again. And they'll be looking at that 3rd seed where whoever they face in the 6th seed, either being Seattle, Texas, offside chance of maybe Cleveland or Kansas City. I mean, like, we're really coming down to it. AL West has heated up. This is the division to watch right now for me. I'm going to be watching a lot of Houston Astro baseball next week. I'll tell you that for sure. Lovely, man. Let's talk about the playoffs again. That's kind of the baseball news that comes up and is the most important stuff right now. We're getting closer and closer to teams clinching. With the magic number for the Brewers still at 2. Phillies closing in right now. They're at 4. And when you look at the teams right now, you can kind of safely say which teams are going to the dance. For the longest time, going back to mid-July, beginning of August, the 12 teams that have continuously been in the playoff predictors and have been in the playoff seeding were the Blue Jays, the Tigers, the Astros, the Mariners, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Brewers, the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Padres, and the Mets. Those have been the 12 teams in postseason seeding for over a month now. And with 2 weeks left of the season to go, I can almost guarantee you that one of those 12 ain't making the postseason. Is it the Mets? Probably. Could it be Seattle or Texas? Or not Texas, Seattle or Houston? Very likely. Where are we sitting right now? So when you look at that 12, the ones you can kind of be like, oh yeah, they're there. The Brewers, the Phillies, the Cubs. Those three are almost automatic at this point. The Cubs have a 7.5 game lead in the wild card. The Brewers are obviously the best team in baseball, still 89-58. And then the Phillies, again, as we mentioned, they just kind of secured them the NL East division. Dodgers and Padres, you can feel pretty safe about them as well. Of course, they're battling each other for the for the NL West. But, whoever ends up losing that ends up being the 5 seed, goes to Chicago to play the Cubs. And right now the Padres being that 2nd seed, they're 4 games up. And again, with 15, 16 games to go, 4 games is a pretty, safe lead as long as the Padres don't blow it. And the Padres have one of the easiest schedules in baseball, so they probably won't blow it. And with the Dodgers, with all their star talent, you can safely say that, 5 of the 6 seeds in the NL are pretty much automatic. So what you have is the Mets clinging on to this last seed with the Reds a game and a half back, a Giants team a game and a half back, the Diamondbacks 3 games back, and if you want to include the Cardinals even, they're 4 games back. There's a race for the last seed in the NL wildcard. You look at the AL, we talked about the West, Texas 2 games back of not only the division but also the wild card seed. The Tigers are pretty much a lock. Blue Jays you can feel pretty confident with as well. Maybe not for the division, but regardless, they'd fall into the wild card seed potentially. Yankees and Red Sox, granted one of these teams chokes, you kind of also feel safe about them. It's a little less chaotic here besides Texas, Seattle, and Houston. That trio right there, one of those teams is going to miss out. The rest, between the Yankees, Red Sox, Jays, and then the Astros, Mariners, Rangers, when you look at those 3 teams from the West and the East, you're more confident with the teams in the East than you are with the teams in the West. Could a Boston choke away, fall away and let Texas and Seattle join Houston in the postseason? Absolutely. That's a likely scenario as well, but more drama between the top heavy hitters in the AL. Meanwhile, you have a lot of drama in the NL for which of those 5 teams that I mentioned, 4 of them aren't making the postseason, and you'd expect the Cardinals not to make it. You expected the Diamondbacks because they sold at the deadline. It really should come down to Giants, Reds, Mets fighting for the last seed. But, we've seen crazier things happen for Arizona in the last couple of years, so maybe they do find a way to slip in. All I know is that there are some teams that are just holding on to their losing magic number till they're eliminated. There are some teams that are feeling very confident in making the postseason, specifically the top teams in the NL. And then you have those teams that are right in the mix where every game matters, not only for them, but the games that are happening across the league as well. And that's what makes this kind of baseball some of the best baseball to watch, man. I love mid-September baseball, ending of September into the postseason in October. Very exciting stuff here. All right, now let's get into the injury updates from the week. We have a huge list, surprisingly. The Phillies are affected in a big way. Trey Turner on the 10-day IL with a strained hamstring, as well as Alec Boehm on the 10-day IL in shoulder soreness. Turner was 2nd in the league to hits to Bo Bichette, who also lands on the 10-day IL with a left knee sprain. So that opens the opportunity for someone to get some hits in and pass both Turner and Bichette, with both of them missing a week here. Kyle Tucker lands on the 10-day IL for the Cubs with a left calf strain. That hurts them a little bit. Astros are putting Luis Garcia back on the IL, 15-day IL with an elbow discomfort. Sucks for him. Fought back from Tommy John, made 2 starts in that second start. Just not having any of it. Goes, gets called for the injury about an inning, 2 innings into the game against the Blue Jays. So really sucks for him. Warming Bernabel 7-day IL with a concussion. He's not the only one. Logan O'Hoppe from the Angels on the 7-day IL with a concussion, as well as Michael Wacha on the 7-day IL with a concussion for the Royals. That kind of hurts their chances. Cubs also lost Daniel Palencia, their closer, who had been struggling recently, but 15-day IL for him with a strained shoulder. And then the Braves are losing Sean Murphy for the rest of the year. 10-day IL, a torn hip labrum, and Murphy will be done this year. I think on Monday I'm going to be ranking the closers. We have to talk closers a little bit because there's a lot of people, not trusting their closing pitchers, and I don't know who is worth trusting and who is not worth trusting because that's just baseball in my mind. But maybe we'll do that on Monday, talk about some closing pitchers. Moving on now, let's get to our outstanding performances and a nice big list here for the week as well. Aaron Nola, 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 7 Ks against the Mets. Brilliance there. Brian Wu continues to be dominant for the Mariners, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, and 9 Ks. Is he the Game 1 starter for a wildcard series? Potentially. Guardians got Slade Ciccione, 8 innings, only 1 hit, no runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks. Garrett Crochet continues his brilliance. 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 10 Ks. Is he guaranteed runner-up against Skubal for the Cy Young? Tyler Glasnow was brilliant. 7 innings, no hits, despite getting a run, 2 walks, and 11 strikeouts. Of course, Dodgers losing out on another no-hitter. Ranger Suarez was brilliant. 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 3 walks, 12 Ks, and when that's the kind of pitching the Phillies have right now, holy. Kennelly Early made his MLB debut with the Red Sox. He went 5 innings, 5 hits, no runs, a walk, and 11 Ks. 11 Ks in your debut is nothing to not smile about. Congratulations to him. Paul Skeens, 5 innings, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 8 Ks. Would have loved to see him go longer, but that pitch count got high against Baltimore. Emmett Sheehan against the Rockies of all teams, 7 innings, 3 hits, a run, a walk, 9 Ks. Jason Alexander did a great job holding the Blue Jays, 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, a walk, and 3 Ks. Nick Pivetta and Andrew Abbott, the pitcher's duel that no one saw coming. 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, a walk, and 8 Ks for Pivetta. Meanwhile, Abbott went 8 innings, 5 hits, an earned run, 2 walks, and 6 Ks. Blake Snell, one of his greater starts of the season, 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 11 Ks. Granted, it is the Rockies. How about Jesus Luzardo? His line on the game, 8 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, no walks, and 10 Ks. You think 4 runs, that's not that outstanding. Sure, but most of that all came in the first inning. Take away the first inning. From the second inning onward, he went 7 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks, and 9 Ks. That first inning was the only blunder inning for Luzardo. He was brilliant against the Mets in that comeback win for the Phillies. And then no one was better than Kevin Gausman. 9 innings for a complete game, 2 hits against the Astros of all teams. No runs, a walk, and 9 Ks. A complete game shutout for Gausman in a big rubber match game between the Blue Jays and the Astros. Gausman steps up in a big, big way here. As we go on now to the stat leaderboard, checking in, not a whole lot to change. Judge still leads an average 322. Bichette in hits is up to 181. Cal Raleigh in home runs up to 53. Kyle Schwarber in RBIs 123. Shohei Ohtani in runs 131. Walks is still Soto, 118. Stolen bases, Caballero, 45. OPS, it's Judge, 1.112. For wins, Freddie Peralta has some friends now because it's not just him, it's Max Fried and Carlos Rodon as well. The Yankees pitchers join him with 16 wins on the season. Paul Skeens' ERA continues to drop. He's at 1.92 on the season. That is incredible. Garrett Crochet leading the league in strikeouts, 228, and then Carlos Estevez from the Royals is up to 39 saves on the season. One more to get to the big 4-0 for him. To the Royals, can they still fight for a postseason chance? We'll have to wait and see. As we take a look now at the upcoming series for the weekend here, and there's some good ones. The Oilers are in Toronto to take on the Blue Jays. Meanwhile, the Yankees and Red Sox face off. This is a big one. Diamondbacks against Minnesota Twins. White Sox at Guardians. Reds at A's. The Angels and Mariners play a 4-game set. The Rangers are in New York to take on the Mets. That's a big series. That is a big series. Astros at Braves, Tigers at Marlins, Royals at Phillies. That's kind of fun and exciting. Potentially, Royals need to step up. Pirates at Nationals, Cardinals at Brewers. Is this the weekend the Brewers finally clinch? Rays at Cubs, Rockies and Padres play a 4-game set, and then Dodgers and Giants. Is this a big game? Is this a big series? It's the first of 7 games that the Dodgers and Giants have left to go this season. If the Giants take, let's say, 5 or 6 against the Dodgers, that changes things drastically for not only the Padres, but also themselves. So those are the games for the weekend here. When you take a look at the series highlight, there is no series bigger than the Red Sox and the Yankees. The rivalry one last time in 2025 before the postseason, potentially, because this could be a potential wild card matchup in the postseason. The Yankees are in Boston to take on the Red Sox. We got the second and third teams in the AL East, the first and second seeds in the AL wild card, and it's more than that because while the Blue Jays are facing Baltimore, these two teams need to face each other. The Yankees are 3 games back of the Jays for the AL East division. The Red Sox are 3.5 games back of the Jays for the division, which means the two teams here are only half a game back of each other. The Red Sox are half a game back of the Yankees. This is the last time that they will face. I've mentioned that. If either team were to sweep, they would either be the Yankees have a 3.5 game lead over the Red Sox, or the Red Sox would have a 2.5 game lead over the Yankees. Meanwhile, let's say the Blue Jays sweep, that means if, let's say the Red Sox sweep and the Blue Jays sweep, the Yankees fall to 6 games back of the division. If it's the Blue Jays sweep and the Red Sox sweep, the Red Sox fall 6.5 games back of the division. So, Blue Jays, you have a chance to beat up Baltimore, the last team in the AL East. And while you're doing that, you get to soak in on some Yankees-Red Sox baseball. And let me tell you, these 3 games are going to be fantastic. We got some great pitchers dueling it out. Game 1 today, Luis Hill on the mound for the Yankees, a 3-1 record, a 3.31 ERA. The Rookie of the Year last year will be facing off against Lucas Giolito, who's had a surprisingly good year. All odds considering, 10-3 record with a 3.38 ERA. Good for Giolito in his first healthy season in a long time. Game 2, the Yankees will send out their ace Max Fried, 16-5 with a 3.02 ERA. The Red Sox will be going out with Brian Bello on 11-6 record with a 3.12 ERA. He's had a fantastic year. And then Game 3, the Yankees will be sending out Will Warren, 8-6 with a 4.22 ERA. Meanwhile, Boston sends their ace out for Sunday Night Baseball. Garrett Crochet, 15-5 with a 2.57 ERA, the lowest ERA among the 6. The Red Sox are avoiding Carlos Rodon, so that kind of benefits them, and they get their kind of 3 best guys. Each game the Red Sox go into this series, their pitcher gets better. Giolito, 3rd best. Brian Bello, 2nd best. Crochet, the best. Meanwhile, Yankees get kind of the curveball in Luis Hill because of his injury, but he's pitched well so far. Then they get their star in Max Fried. I'm thinking, like this series is a big series, man. I'm going to enjoy this series. There's a lot of good baseball, man. I'm telling you, next week too, the Astros with the Rangers. Next weekend, Astros and Mariners. Like there is some very exciting baseball coming up here. Let's take a look at the magic numbers. We've been talking about them a little bit throughout the episode, the baseball news. The AL clinching teams right now, both the Tigers and the Blue Jays are down to 8. So you're not going to see any clinching for those two teams this weekend, but they could drop that number to as low as 2 with a weekend that works out perfectly for those two teams. So keep that in mind there. Yankees and Red Sox are at 11. We know that they're facing each other, so these two teams, that number could drop substantially depending on the outcomes of those 3 games. Meanwhile, the Astros are at 13 and the Mariners are at 13. Texas is at 15 because they technically would control their destiny because they have tiebreakers, but, let's see what happens there first. On the NL side, we've talked about it. The Brewers are down to 2. They can clinch as early as today with a Brewers win and then a Giants and Reds loss, I believe. That's the best case scenario, but as long as they win 2 of 3 this series, or at least win 2 games, they would clinch. The Phillies are down to 4 to clinch a postseason berth. The Cubs are at 8. Dodgers are at 9. Padres are at 11. And then the Mets, of course, 15, with 15 to 16 games remaining, depending on which team you are. 5 series left. And we've got our first divisional clinch, because that's the first one we have to talk about now. We mentioned it, the Phillies. They're down to 5. They could clinch not only this weekend for a postseason berth, but also the division that, and at least, as I mentioned, 5 games. If they sweep and the Mets get swept, or the Mets lose 2 of 3, or if the Phillies win 2 of 3 and the Mets get swept, any combination of those 6 games, with the Mets losing 2 or 3, Phillies winning 2 or 3, you know what it means. Phillies would clinch the NL East. For the losing magic numbers, the Nationals are down to 1. So a Mets win or a Nationals loss would put them in the books. The Twins are down to 2, so they can be eliminated as early as today as well if they lose, and the Mariners/Astros both win. The A's are down to 4. The Pirates are down to 4. Braves and Angels are down to 6. The O's are down to 7. Marlins down to 8. That's kind of the next, 4 teams, 8 teams here, who will all be getting eliminated probably in the next, 5 games or so, 5 days. So those are the next 8 there. Those are the losing magic numbers, and that is that segment, which brings us now to the playoff predictor. If the baseball season ended today, who is taking it home? The Mariners in the 6th seed, we're going to say. Astros, the 3 seed. They face the tiebreakers, these 2 teams, man. Red Sox and Yankees, they're, of course, facing this weekend as well. I'm telling you, man, great baseball coming up. I'm so excited. Astros beat the Mariners. Yankees beat the Red Sox. So the ALCS matchups. We just had a mix of this already this week. Astros at Tigers, Yankees at Blue Jays. We had Yankees at Tigers at Yankees, Astros at Blue Jays. It's a whole mix and match. Astros beat the Tigers, Blue Jays beat the Yankees. The ALCS matchup is the Astros and the Blue Jays. We just saw them play. Blue Jays beating up on the Astros. On the NL side of things, the Mets holding on to that 6th seed with their dear life. They play the Dodgers. Padres in the 5 seed taking on the Cubs in the 4 seed. Padres upset the Cubs. Dodgers, of course, beat up on the Mets. They're tragic. Padres at Brewers. Dodgers at Phillies for the NLDS. That's some fun ones. Dodgers beat the Phillies. Brewers handled the Padres. So we go to the NLCS matchup. Dodgers and Brewers. We saw this NLCS matchup back in 2018. And it stays the same as the Dodgers beat the Brewers. So the World Series goes blue. Dodgers and Blue Jays face off. And with Ohtani at the helm, the Dodgers would be your 2025 World Series champions. If the season ended today, I cannot stress enough how excited I am for the remainder of the season. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for our episode here today. We have 75 series remaining across the league, 15 games, 15 to 16 games, depending on which team you are. 5 series and a lot to play for. When you look at, who plays who and which big series will count, there is still a lot of great baseball here in the last 2 weeks. And I'm excited for it. I cannot stress how excited I am for some of the games this weekend into next week. And at this point, every week, every series, there's some exciting baseball going on and some big potential, division-changing, wild card-changing matchups. And that's what makes September baseball so amazing, and that leads into the playoff October atmosphere with football season going on. This is the best time for sports. I love you all. Thank you, everybody, so much, and I will see you on Monday.